He was a very dangerous man, and many believe he was responsible for many homicides and many murders.
If convicted, Blake faces 390 years in prison and a $15.5 million fine for his role in the Shower Posse.
In the third installment of our documentary series, we dive deeper into Jamaica's gangland, uncovering the lives and legacies of some of the island's most dangerous gangsters. From the shadows of Spanish Town to the streets of Kingston, these figures have wielded power, instilled fear, and left a permanent mark on both the criminal underworld and the communities they've impacted. We bring to light the untold stories of individuals whose names have become synonymous with violence, betrayal, and the relentless pursuit of power. Andrew Bun Man Hope was linked to the One Order gang in Spanish Town, Jamaica. He was known as one of the gang's leaders and tried to help stop fights between groups. The gang's actions led to violence in the area, especially when there were arguments over who should be the leader. Hope's role in the gang and the fights between groups in Spanish Town show how complicated and impactful gang issues can be in a community. Joel Andem, known for leading the Gideon Warriors gang, was one of Jamaica's most feared criminals, involved in a series of violent activities including over 20 murders. His criminal career began with a conviction for larceny in 1983, and despite a lengthy prison sentence, he was released on parole after 8 years. Andem's gang was notorious in several communities in East St. Andrew and was responsible for numerous heinous acts, including the murder of Sylvia Edwards and other high-profile crimes. Andem's capture in May 2004 by a joint police-military team in Clarksonville marked a significant moment in Jamaica's fight against gang violence. At the time of his arrest, Andem faced numerous charges, including murder and illegal possession of a firearm. His arrest brought relief to law enforcement and the communities affected by his gang's reign of terror. Kevin Richie Pooh Tyndale, associated with the One Order gang, was captured in 2004. His involvement led to significant violence in Spanish Town, including a deadly gang feud that resulted in a curfew due to shootings and arsons. Tyndale faced numerous charges related to violent crimes, underlining the severity of his criminal activities and the impact on the community.
Christopher Coke was born in the Tivoli Gardens area of Jamaica's capital, Kingston, in 1969.
He was a little boy. He lived loving and good and lived up on the bed at night.
Plumes of smoke rising from one of Kingston's poorest neighborhoods, Tivoli Gardens. On the third day of clashes with armed supporters of Christopher Dudus Coke.
Reports were that the armed forces had launched an air attack.
Right now the soldiers them live on the remand center top, then the pan Shetola Park school top, then the pan the house top them and we cannot come out, then the pan blood bank top, cut all the fire through the window them over here. We are go cross the road and shop cap and last night we not eat, a peer shot we can't go cross the road and we are home and helicopter drive up in the sky and that boom and pick me there.
In May 2010, the streets of Kingston, Jamaica became a war zone. Security forces attacked the country's most dangerous gang, the Shower Posse, and its notorious leader, Christopher Dudus Coke. His influence reached from the top of Jamaican politics all the way to the heart of Toronto's drug scene. And it was Canadian police who helped hunt down the Kingston kingpin.
He's accused of being one of the most dangerous drug lords in the world. On Thursday, Christopher Coke, otherwise known as Dudus, was put on a plane bound for the United States, where he'll face charges of drug trafficking and arms dealing. This is the entrance to the neighborhood that was the stronghold of Christopher Dudus Coke. As we can see in the entrance, the military have set up a checkpoint, and the curfew has been extended in this zone.
Following bloodshed over his captured, Jamaican gang leader Christopher Dudus Coke has arrived in New York under tight security to face charges that he flooded the East Coast.
The West Kingston Commission of Inquiry on Thursday saw footage for the first time of crime lord Christopher Dudus Coke behind bars after he was captured on June 22, 2010.
Leader of a gang called the Shower Posse. Coke was arraigned Friday in a Manhattan federal court. He pleaded not guilty to federal drug and weapons charges.
He distributed guns and cash among his supporters to build their loyalty and increase his power base.
This was the moment when residents of Tivoli Gardens found out that their beloved Don, Christopher Dudus Coke, was sentenced to 23 years imprisonment in the United States for racketeering and conspiracy charges. The light and anxious mood seen early in the community was transformed into one of somberness and reflection.
Well, I'm feeling downhearted, because I never expect the maximum still. Because he don't really deserve the maximum penalty.
Why you say that?
Because he's a good person, and everybody who give evidence against him, them don't know him. They're just making up something.
Christopher Dudus Coke was a significant figure in Jamaica's organized crime, leading the Shower Posse, a gang involved in various illegal activities including drug trafficking and arms smuggling. The gang, originally formed in the 1980s, was known for its violent methods, particularly in the United States, where it contributed to the cocaine epidemic and was blamed for over 1,000 murders. Following his father Lester Lloyd Coke's death in 1992, Dudus took control of Tivoli Gardens in West Kingston, becoming a powerful figure in the community. He maintained a lower profile in the U.S. compared to his predecessors, but continued the gang's operations, focusing on drug trafficking while trying to avoid provoking U.S. law enforcement. Despite the decrease in violence in the U.S. under his leadership, Jamaica experienced a spike in violence, with Tivoli Gardens gunmen implicated in numerous killings. Coke's influence extended beyond criminal activities. He was known for his charity work in Tivoli Gardens, providing resources and enforcing a form of community justice. His extradition request by the U.S. in 2009 led to significant unrest in Kingston, resulting in over 70 deaths. Coke was eventually captured in 2010, disguised as a woman, and sentenced by a U.S. court in 2012 to 23 years in prison for racketeering, conspiracy, and conspiracy to commit assault. Coke's sentencing concluded a tumultuous period in Jamaica-U.S. relations and highlighted a complex relationship between dons, political parties, and communities in Jamaica. His case also reflected a shift in organized crime in Jamaica, with criminal groups becoming more fragmented and maintaining a lower profile to avoid detection.
His father, Lester, known as Jim Brown, was the chief enforcer for a feared drug syndicate. And despite his humble beginnings, Lester Coke's increasing wealth allowed him to provide the very best for his children.
His father was a far more notorious figure than he was, but the father really wasn't active in Jamaica throughout the 80s.
His father's gang was expanding its drugs empire into North America and Europe, using methods considered extreme, even within a trade defined by excessive violence. They became known as the Shower Posse because their favoured form of execution was to shower their targets with dozens of bullets.
He was a very dangerous man, and many believe he was responsible for many homicides and many murders.
Lester Lloyd Coke, also known as Jim Brown, was a central figure in the history of organized crime in Jamaica, leading the notorious Shower Posse during the 1980s. His life took a drastic turn from being an apprentice locksmith to becoming a key player in the violent political struggles that engulfed Jamaica during the 1960s and 1970s. The Shower Posse, under Coke's leadership, was involved in trafficking cocaine from Jamaica to major cities in the U.S., contributing significantly to the drug trade and associated violence both in Jamaica and the United States. Coke's involvement in the political landscape, particularly his support for the Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, and the violent tactics employed by the Shower Posse, contributed to the intense political and criminal violence during this period. His death in 1992 under mysterious circumstances in a Jamaican prison cell, coinciding with the murder of his son, Mark, fueled further violence and speculation about the government's involvement in his death. Following his death, Coke's legacy continued through his son, Christopher Dudus Coke, who also became a prominent figure in the criminal underworld, leading the Shower Posse until his arrest and extradition to the United States in 2010. The violence and unrest associated with Dudus Coke's arrest highlighted the enduring influence of the Coke family on Jamaica's political and criminal landscape.
But more than half of those scheduled to be arrested are still at large. Among those, the head of the Shower Posse, Vivian Blake, If convicted, Blake faces 390 years in prison and a $15.5 million fine for his role in the Shower Posse.
Shower Posse is the largest posse of some 40 that are presently active in the United States.
How was your 5-6 years in prison there? Well, basically, I can handle it. Right. It's a different prison from American prison. It's a rougher prison, more violent.
Vivian Blake, born on May 11, 1956, was a key figure in the establishment of the Shower Posse, a gang notorious for its involvement in drug trafficking and violent acts. Despite coming from a humble background in West Kingston, Jamaica, Blake was able to attend a private high school, St. George's College, thanks to a scholarship. He later moved to New York City in 1973, expanding his operations across the United States. Blake's actions in the Bronx during the 1980s, particularly in areas such as Soundview and Crotona Park, led to a significant increase in availability. His gang, the Shower Posse, gained its name from their ruthless practice of showering their enemies with bullets, contributing to their fearsome reputation. Despite facing charges for multiple killings in Miami, Blake managed to avoid capture for a time by fleeing to Jamaica. In 1999, after additional charges were filed against him, Blake was extradited to the United States, where he pleaded guilty to racketeering and conspiracy among other charges in 2000. He was sentenced to 28 years in prison but was released on parole after serving 8 years. Blake returned to Jamaica in January 2009 and lived there until his death on March 21, 2010, from a heart attack exacerbated by kidney disease and ongoing dialysis treatment. Marlon Duppy Perry was a notorious figure in Jamaica, wanted for numerous crimes including the murders of 2 policemen. Despite a challenging childhood and a speech impediment, he vowed revenge against those who bullied him. Perry's father's imprisonment and his own subsequent involvement in violent crimes cast a shadow over his life. He was known for his evasiveness, changing his appearance frequently to escape capture. His death in 2017 ended a reign of terror in St. Thomas, where he was linked to at least 16 murders. Dorrset Bulbie Bennett, also known as Donovan Bennett, was a notorious leader of the Klansman Gang, based in Spanish Town, Jamaica. He was involved in a range of criminal activities, including murder and extortion, and was known for his extensive criminal empire. Bennett's influence extended to the ownership of numerous vehicles and heavy equipment used in construction and hauling industries throughout Jamaica. He became the leader of the Klansman Gang by allegedly murdering the previous leader, Derek Puppy String Eccleston, in 1993. Leading to numerous violent confrontations with rival gangs, particularly the One Order Gang. Bennett's operations weren't limited to gang violence. He also ran extensive extortion rackets targeting local businesses, especially taxi drivers. Despite his criminal activities, he was able to maintain a lavish lifestyle, living in a large, well-furnished house with a sophisticated water pump system and a standby electricity generator. His death in 2005 during a gun battle with law enforcement marked the end of his reign, but also sparked violent reactions from his gang and supporters, leading to further violence in the area. As we conclude this chapter of Jamaica's most notorious, the tales of these gang leaders not only shed light on the individuals themselves but also on the broader societal and systemic issues that fuel the cycle of violence and crime in Jamaica. Their stories are a testament to the complex interplay between socio-economic factors, political affiliations, and the human quest for power and survival. As Jamaica continues to grapple with the challenges posed by organized crime, the stories of these gangsters serve as a sobering reminder of the work that remains to be done in order to secure a future free from the shadows of gang dominance.
We go to news now from the courts. Convicted gang leader Andre Blackman Bryan today admitted that he is the leader of the Jones Avenue criminal network that committed crimes including murder and...
We done talking, one done. And there's no other Dan, any other than a Clarin Dan. Brian spoke for approximately 7 minutes.
Welcome back to Primetime News.
And a special welcome to those of you watching on OneSpotMedia.com.
Up first this evening, one of the island's most wanted men was shot dead during a police operation this afternoon.
Nesta Bigger Crime Morrison, who is known to reside on the border of St. Andrew and St. Thomas, apparently had been hiding in Clarendon where he met his demise.
And as Anthony Lugnar reports, he'd been eluding the police for over a year.
Nesta Bigger Crime Morrison has been eluding the police for over 2 years.
Jamaica, with its rich cultural heritage and stunning natural beauty, faces a significant challenge that contrasts sharply with its idyllic image, a pervasive influence of organized crime. At the heart of this issue are the notorious gang leaders, or dons, who command a power that often rivals and in some areas supersedes that of the state itself. These figures have not only shaped the criminal landscape of the island, but have also woven themselves into the socio-political tapestry, blurring the lines between lawlessness and governance. This narrative delves into the lives of 5 of Jamaica's most feared gangsters, whose reigns of terror have left indelible marks on the communities they controlled and the nation as a whole.
Jubilant supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party celebrate an overwhelming victory. "Ah, Eddie, we ready," they chant. Their leader, Edward Seaga, is the new Prime Minister. His party has captured 51 of the 60 seats in the Jamaican Parliament. For Seaga, the campaign had been one to rid Jamaica of the cancer of radicalism.
In Jamaica, there's a big problem with gangs that are tied to politics. A long time ago, political groups such as JLP and PNP wanted to win votes in certain areas, so they made friends with gang leaders in poor parts of Kingston, the capital city. These areas, called garrison communities, are like little kingdoms run by gangs. The gangs got weapons and acted like they were in charge, which led to a lot of crime. Researchers found out that these gangs don't just cause trouble. They also act like many governments. They help people by giving them money for school or finding them jobs, kind of like what the government should do. But they also demand money from businesses for protection, which isn't fair. The gangs got more powerful when they started trading drugs like cocaine instead of just local marijuana. This made the violence and crime even worse. A big moment that showed how deep the connection between gangs and politics was when the U.S. wanted to take a gang leader named Christopher Dudus to court. It caused a lot of drama and showed that gangs and politics are really mixed up in Jamaica. Today, gangs still have a lot of power in Jamaica, and it's a big issue for the country. People are trying to figure out how to deal with it, but it's complicated because of the history and how deep the problem goes. Donald Phipps, better known as Seeks, was a significant figure in the criminal landscape of Kingston, Jamaica, particularly within the Matthews Lane area. His criminal activities led to his arrest and subsequent life imprisonment for the double murder of Rodney Farquharson and Dayton Williams, who were brutally killed and their bodies set on fire in 2005. The police investigation linked Seeks to the crime through a trail of bloodstains from a building on Matthews Lane to the site where the bodies were found. Seeks' appeal against his life sentence was dismissed, confirming his conviction for the murders, which involved beating, torturing, and shooting the victims in Matthews Lane before burning their bodies in downtown Kingston. The evidence against him included cell site analysis, which helped establish his location at the time of the murders. Seeks' arrest and conviction were significant due to his feared status and the control he wielded in the Matthews Lane area. His activities had previously triggered major demonstrations, highlighting his influence and the impact of his criminal operations on the community. The sentencing of Seeks was viewed as a crucial victory for law enforcement in their efforts to combat gang violence and organized crime in Jamaica. Michael Forbes, also known as Lassie, was associated with the infamous Shower Posse, a gang with origins in Jamaica and notorious for its violent activities, especially during its peak years. The Shower Posse is well known for its involvement in drug and arms smuggling, with operations that stretched from Jamaica to various parts of the United States. Forbes, as part of this gang, was implicated in drug trafficking operations that contributed significantly to the Shower Posse's reputation for violence and expansive criminal network during the 1980s and 1990s. The Shower Posse, under the leadership figures such as Lester Lloyd Coke and later his son Christopher Dudus Coke, was responsible for a large number of violent crimes, including murders and shootings, which were often related to their drug trafficking activities. The gang's name, Shower Posse, is derived from their reputed willingness to shower bullets on their enemies. The international law enforcement efforts to dismantle the Shower Posse and bring its members to justice, including individuals like Michael Forbes, underscore the global scale of the challenges posed by organized crime groups originating from Jamaica. These efforts highlight the need for cross-border collaboration to effectively combat such networks that not only impact Jamaica, but also extend their criminal reach internationally.
Members of the Joint Anti-Gang Task Force JAG-TF yesterday seized 3 guns and more than 120 rounds of ammunition following a raid in Bulbie, St. Andrew. They went in search of reputed gang leader Nestor Morrison, otherwise called Bigger Crime, and his alleged lieutenant known only by his alias Fireblaze. The law enforcement team is appealing to anyone with information on the wanted men to contact the police. Nika Lewis reports.
Nestor Morrison, otherwise called Bigger Crime, has been on the police's radar for some time, but more recently he's been under the microscope.
The police have renewed its call for St. Thomas's most wanted man to surrender. 29-year-old Nestor Morrison is wanted for several serious crimes to include murder, shooting, and arson. Polinique Bowen has more.
As crime continues to plague the once peaceful parish, St. Thomas, the police are renewing their efforts to clamp down on criminals who continue to disrupt peace and invoke fear in residents. This has led to a renewed call for the parish's most wanted man, 29-year-old Nestor Morrison, to turn himself in. Morrison, who is more popularly known as Grimy Boss or Bigger Crime, has been listed as a wanted man several times.
Welcome back to Primetime News.
And a special welcome to those of you watching on OneSpotMedia.com.
Up first this evening, one of the island's most wanted men was shot dead during a police operation this afternoon.
Nestor Bigger Crime Morrison, who is known to reside on the border of St. Andrew and St. Thomas, apparently had been hiding in Clarendon where he met his demise.
And as Anthony Lugnar reports, he'd been eluding the police for over a year.
Nestor Bigger Crime Morrison has been eluding the police for over 2 years.
I wish to confirm to the Jamaican people that Nestor Morrison, OC Bigger Crime, of 11 miles Bulbie, which is the border of St. Thomas, was fatally shot during an intelligence-led operation by the security forces in Longville Park, Clarendon.
Wayne Smith, also known as Bigger Crime, was a notorious figure and the alleged leader of the Tanquil Hill Gang, operating primarily in the Bulbie area, spanning the border of St. Andrew and St. Thomas in Jamaica. His criminal activities, which included a reign of terror over the local population, were marked by extreme violence, including murders. Bigger Crime was particularly infamous for his involvement in various crimes such as double murder, and was known for causing havoc in the 11 miles area of Bulbie, St. Thomas. His notoriety escalated to the point where he became one of Jamaica's most wanted men. The pursuit of Bigger Crime by law enforcement was intense and involved a joint anti-gang task force that utilized various resources, including aerial surveillance and K9 units, in an effort to capture him. Despite several opportunities given to him to surrender peacefully, he continued to evade capture, leading to a 2-year-long manhunt. His hideouts were raided by the Joint Anti-Gang Task Force, which discovered evidence of recent occupation, including firearms, ammunition, and other incriminating materials. Although he managed to escape these encounters, Bigger Crime's violent spree and the fear he instilled in the communities he operated within came to an end when he was fatally shot by security forces in Longville Park, Clarendon, during an intelligence-driven operation. His death was seen as a significant victory for law enforcement and brought relief to the communities that had been terrorized by his action. Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey noted that Bigger Crime's demise marked an end to the terror he inflicted on the citizens of Bulbie and its surroundings, emphasizing the positive impact on the community's safety and well-being.
During the Uchence Wilson gang trial, it was established that the gang members were operating as a criminal organization with the intent to commit several criminal acts, namely burglary and larceny. It was also established that the men carried out some of those serious crimes, and it was also borne out in court that Uchence Wilson was the leader.
First up, two government witnesses in the trial who were also gang members told the court that most of the items of value from the robbery spree were sold to a business place in the corporate area. Well, Archie, the witness told the court today that he visited several police stations and even the commissioner's office to report the activities of the Uchence Wilson gang, but no one took him serious. The witness says when he related the story of how ruthless the gang was to a police officer at the commissioner's office, the person he spoke with did not take a statement and told him the case was too big and that they can't manage it. He says police personnel at the commissioner's office told him, quote, "The robberies sound like a make-up story because there were too many." He says when he reported the matter at several other police stations, he was told they did not think his story was credible. The main accused, Uchence Wilson and Dean Smith, were both freed of firearm charges. But that doesn't mean that Wilson and Smith will walk free. Wilson still faces over 20 other charges, while Smith faces 3.
After 9 months, the Uchence Wilson gang trial ended today with the established leader Uchence Wilson facing more than 20 years in prison for at least being the leader of a criminal organization. Mr. Wilson was found guilty on several charges by the trial judge, Chief Justice Brian Syke.
In October, Wilson was convicted on 10 of the 34 charges brought against him. Today, the judge sentenced Wilson to 114 years for all 10 convictions. But Wilson won't spend all that time in prison. Instead, he will only spend 26 years behind bars because the judge has ordered that he should serve all sentences at the same time.
Because of our normal practice in our corrections departments of 2/3, that you would have a 1/3 reduction on your sentence for good behavior, then you could be out in 17 years.
Uchence Wilson, reputed to be the leader of the Uchence Wilson gang, has been associated with a string of criminal activities across Jamaica. His gang, known for its organized structure, specialized in armed robberies, targeting both businesses and individuals. The gang's operations extended beyond simple theft to include firearms trafficking and extortion, showcasing a sophisticated network that facilitated their criminal endeavors across several parishes. Wilson's arrest brought to light the significant challenges Jamaica faces in combating organized crime groups. These gangs, deeply embedded within certain communities, pose a considerable threat not just due to their criminal activities, but also because of their ability to influence community dynamics and instill fear among residents. The trial of Wilson and his gang members highlighted the judiciary's efforts to address such organized crime networks, underscoring the ongoing battle against criminal entities that disrupt societal peace and stability. The legal proceedings against Wilson and his associates have been a focal point in Jamaica's broader strategy to dismantle organized crime syndicates and restore safety to affected communities.
Structured criminal organization with an alleged leader, Andre Blackman Bryan, meant to ensure his safety, top-tier members and foot soldiers who carried out various attacks after being instructed. At one point, the reputed gang leader allegedly became furious with his foot soldiers. This after 3 failed attempts to murder a man. According to the prosecution's witness, Brian accused the men of being idle as they knew where the target was, yet still the man identified as Dooley was still breathing.
Andre Blackman Bryan guilty on count 1 of the indictment, being the leader of the notorious One Don Klansman.
Alleged leader of the One Don gang, Andre Blackman Bryan, has professed his innocence, stating he has never been involved in any gang activities or ordered the murder of anyone.
We go to news now from the courts. Convicted gang leader Andre Blackman Bryan today admitted that he is the leader of the Jones Avenue criminal network that committed crimes including murder and arson in Spanish Town and its environs.
Is it done talking? One done.
And there's no other than, any other than a Clarendon.
Andre Blackman Bryan, associated with the Klansman Gang, has been a significant figure in the criminal landscape of Spanish Town, Jamaica. As the alleged leader, Bryan has been implicated in a range of illicit activities, including extortion, drug trafficking, and violent confrontations with rival factions. His leadership is notable not just for the criminal endeavors, but also for the gang's involvement in politically charged violence, which has further destabilized the community and heightened concerns about safety and security. Bryan's infamy is compounded by the gang's deep-seated influence in the area, which extends beyond mere criminal activities to affect the socio-political fabric of Spanish Town. The gang's involvement in such activities under Bryan's alleged leadership underscores the complex interplay between organized crime and local politics in Jamaica, making the Klansman Gang a central figure in discussions about crime and law enforcement in the region. Recent developments have seen Bryan and several gang members facing legal proceedings, marking a significant move by Jamaican authorities to dismantle the gang's operations. The trial and subsequent sentencing of Bryan and his associates are viewed as a crucial step in combating the pervasive influence of organized crime in Jamaica, although the long-term impact on the gang's activities and a broader criminal landscape remains to be seen. The stories of these 5 gang leaders underscore a broader narrative of struggle and resilience in the face of organized crime in Jamaica. Their legacies, defined by violence, fear, and at times political influence, highlight the critical need for continued and collaborative efforts to dismantle the power structures that allow such individuals to thrive. The fight against gang dominance is not just about law enforcement, it's about reclaiming communities and restoring a sense of safety and stability to the lives of Jamaicans. As the nation moves forward, it carries the heavy burden of its past, but also the hope for a future where the rule of law prevails.
In this same courtroom, in 2016, Black Man, who they said we sent to kill this gentleman, was acquitted by a jury. And today, Mr. Miller is sentenced to 39 years and 9 months for sending Black Man, who is acquitted, to go and kill this gentleman.
I know them kill my friend, but everything good. Yo, Crows, I'm a friend. Yeah, man, me a teach Jamaica. Government and police, them say.
Yesterday, that one of the country's most wanted, 25-year-old Delano Wilmot, otherwise called Precke Boy, was shot dead during an operation with members of the security forces. Wilmot, who is said to be the leader of the Retrieve gang that reigns in Cambridge, St. James, was listed as wanted following the murder of Mark Williams in June 2016.
In 2013, Linton was sentenced to 15 years in prison on charges of shooting with intent and illegal possession of firearm. He was, however, freed in April of this year after his conviction was quashed in the Court of Appeal.
Welcome to part 2 of 5 dangerous Jamaican gangsters. In the turbulent landscape of Jamaica's criminal underworld, several figures stand out for their notorious activities, leadership in violent gangs, and the profound impact they've had on both the society and the law enforcement efforts to curb their influence. This passage delves into the lives of 5 such individuals, each with a unique story that contributes to the complex tapestry of crime in Jamaica. From the economic exploitation of public spaces to brutal gangland executions, their actions have left an indelible mark on the communities they've operated within. Nevada Hodges, Christopher Paul Linton, Dwayne Precapuzzi, Natty Morgan, and Tesha Miller each represent a facet of the criminal operations that have plagued Jamaica, from Spanish Town to Kingston. Their stories encompass a range of criminal endeavors, including extortion, murder, and drug trafficking, highlighting the multifaceted nature of gang leadership and the challenges posed to law enforcement and community safety.
I would say that it's only goodness for the future and it's only positive moves that I'll be promoting. So for the youths who are thinking positively and those who are not, we're still here to try and to guide or to point into that direction. That's the influence I want to portray now on the youth of today. Yes, that's how I want to do things going into the future.
Investigations into the shooting of Christopher Dogpaw Linton by gunmen Saturday night are ongoing. That's the word from head of the police's corporate communications unit, CCU, Senior Superintendent Stephanie Lindsay.
The reputed leader of the Dogpaw Gang, Christopher Dogpaw Linton, has been killed. Sources say Dogpaw was cut down by the police in Ellison Flats a short while ago.
Our news team visited the community of Tavern in St. Andrew, where Christopher Linton, widely known as Dogpaw, hails from. Residents who did not wish to speak on camera expressed their sadness to the news. Relatives say they saw it coming as he was being targeted by the police since his release from prison 7 months ago. Easygoing, jovial, and supportive, those are just some of the words residents used to describe Linton.
He's a good person. He help people. If you not have nowhere and you have a little room or he make you live. Because right now he make me live and Jaja. Can you give me a spot and say, go and build up a house for you and your family them.
It's been just over 2 months since Christopher Dogpaw Linton was shot and killed in an alleged shootout with the police. Here, on the last day of 2021, family members and close friends paid their last respects. Now, Linton was for several years regarded as one of Jamaica's most wanted men. In 2013, Linton was sentenced to 15 years in prison on charges of shooting with intent and illegal possession of firearm. He was, however, freed in April of this year after his conviction was quashed in the Court of Appeal. In June, Linton was hospitalized after being shot by gunmen in Bulbie, St. Andrew. Linton met his demise on October 11.
He says police and soldiers visit his home in Tavern, St. Andrew regularly, the latest being a little over a week ago, while a wake was in session for his brother, the late Christopher Dogpaw Linton.
Before the pastor and my brother, they came here, they said they must kill my mother's 2 sons. Now, I'm the only one left right now.
Linton says he has to take the warning seriously because 3 of his brothers have already been killed, and he feels the police were involved in the deaths of all 3 of his brothers.
He's not a monster to just go around and killing people as what them said. You understand? You see him doing it, him do things, right? I know him do a lot of good. I never seen him do one, but I'm only hear about it. You have your child, and as I tell you before, them not gonna do things and let you see. You understand?
Christopher Dogpaw Linton was a notable figure in Kingston's underworld, leading the Dogpaw Gang and becoming infamous for his involvement in various violent crimes, including shootings and robberies. His nickname Dogpaw stemmed from his school days and became a symbol of his feared presence in the communities of Papine, Kintyre, Tavern, and August Town. The police considered him highly organized, particularly in running extortion rings. One of the most grievous accusations against him was leading an attack in Bedwoods Garden, Kingston, where 50 men allegedly sprayed a house with bullets before burning it down, resulting in the death of a family of 3. Another significant charge was his involvement in the shooting of a policeman. Despite proclaiming his innocence and fearing for his life, Linton was eventually captured, tried, and sentenced to 15 years in prison, although charges related to the family's murder were dropped due to lack of witnesses. Linton's life and death have sparked discussions about the deep-seated issues in Jamaican society, highlighting the complex interplay between crime, social status, and the justice system. His story reflects the challenges faced by those attempting to navigate and reform from within such a tumultuous environment. Despite his criminal activities, Linton's personal connections, including those with Leah Tavares Vinson, the daughter of a prominent politician and a former Miss World, illustrate the intricate relationships that exist within different social strata in Jamaica. Following his release from prison after a successful appeal, Linton's return to crime and subsequent death in a police encounter underscore the difficulties in breaking the cycle of violence and crime. Even after serving time, his death was met with mixed reactions. revealing the societal divides and the ongoing debate over the effectiveness of the justice system and rehabilitation efforts in Jamaica. Natty Morgan, known for his criminal activities from a young age, became Jamaica's most wanted fugitive due to his involvement in a multitude of violent crimes. His gang was implicated in 19 murders, 41 robberies, and other serious offenses across several parishes. Among the notable crimes attributed to Morgan were the suspected murders of a University of the West Indies lecturer and his companion, believed to have been abducted and possibly disposed of in the Riverton landfill. Morgan's criminal career was characterized by his ruthless nature and his ability to disguise himself, often wearing dresses and wigs to conceal his identity. Despite his feared reputation, some described Morgan as having a calm demeanor, which belied his capacity for violence. It was said that for Morgan, killing was as natural as breathing. An incident that might have significantly influenced Morgan's path towards criminality involved a dispute over extortion money, leading to him being shot by his brother-in-law. This event, among others, contributed to Morgan's notoriety and the escalation of his criminal activities. Morgan's life came to a violent end when he was killed in a shootout with police in Lakes Bend, St. Catherine. At the time of his death, he was armed with an M16 Colt assault rifle and was found with a Bible in his back pocket, a detail that highlighted the complex persona of a man who was deeply involved in criminality yet also engaged with religious texts.
Yeah, man. Me, man, prick man. They are sending boy a government right now. See all the government for Jamaica. John, what you even know them kill my friend, but everything good. Yo, Crows. You're my friend. Yeah, man, me a teach Jamaica. The government and police them say.
Yesterday, that one of the country's most wanted, 25-year-old Delano Wilmot, otherwise called Precke Boy, was shot dead during an operation with members of the security forces. Wilmot, who is said to be the leader of the Retrieve gang that reigns in Cambridge, St. James, was listed as wanted following the murder of Mark Williams in June 2016. The police have linked the gang to at least 12 murders and 11 shootings, which includes confrontation with police officers in St. James. The latest murder allegedly carried out by members of the gang was the killing of a man in Catadupa in the parish on July 9. The police say they carried out several operations during the state of public emergency in the parish since 2018 to apprehend Wilmot and members of the gang. However, they were unsuccessful.
Me, man. Precke Boy right on. They are 8 years easy back here, so come back to Jamaica. Normal thing. So all you government boy, better be a soldier or security force on the yard, yeah? A be a gunshot in our ghetto, but mush up the place. Oh.
Dwayne Precke Pusey, also known as Precke, was a notorious figure in Jamaica, infamous for his involvement in several murders and other violent crimes. His activities had placed him on Jamaica's most wanted list for an extended period. Precke Boy's criminal career came to an end when he was fatally shot by the Jamaica Defence Force during an operation in Cambridge, St. James. This operation was part of a long-standing effort to apprehend him, given his significant role in criminal activities within the region. Precke Boy had previously claimed that the police could not kill him due to his strong belief in protection from obeah, a form of Jamaican folk magic. He even boasted about this in a statement months before his death, after returning from Haiti, where he was also believed to be wanted for murder. The Jamaican Defence Force wanted Precke for at least 12 murders, highlighting the extent of his criminal involvement. His death was seen by many, including residents and family members, as a relief due to the nuisance and threat he posed to the community.
A raging gunfight between criminals and police in Rivoli, Spanish Town, St. Catherine left students at St. Jago High unable to leave the compound for several hours today. The principal said reports of a hostage situation and students being trapped were untrue. Nadine McLeod went to the scene today.
It's a bit peaceful here now at St. Jago High School. It's now shortly after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but it wasn't quite like that a few hours ago. For almost 2 hours, students were trapped in the classroom as a live operation continues around them.
We got to Spanish Town shortly after 3 to find a gun battle on the way. Helicopters hovering above and police and soldiers entering Rivoli.
Nevada Hodges, also known by the name Novodo Hodges or DJ, was a significant figure within the Klansman Gang, a group known for its involvement in various criminal activities, including extortion rackets, particularly in the Spanish Town bus park. His role within the gang highlighted their economic strategies, leveraging control over public spaces to fund their operations. Hodges' activities extended beyond typical violent crime, showcasing the gang's economic control and exploitation as key components of their operations. Tragically, Hodges' life came to a violent end, which was a result of internal gang conflict and possibly as a retaliation for his alleged involvement in the murder of a gang member's sister. His head and body were found in separate locations in Spanish Town, indicating a brutal execution style that is often associated with gangland violence. This incident was linked to the broader context of gang power struggles and the impact of crime on Jamaican society, particularly in areas like Spanish Town where gangs like the Klansmen have a strong presence. The police had recognized Hodges as a significant threat due to his involvement in multiple homicides and had offered a substantial reward for information leading to his capture despite their efforts. Hodges managed to elude capture until his untimely death, which highlighted the challenges law enforcement faced in dealing with highly organized and dangerous individuals within these criminal networks.
The alleged leader of the Klansman Gang, Tasha Miller, has been charged with murder and accessory to murder. A parish judge had given the police until 9:30 tomorrow morning to charge or release Mr. Miller. Welcome back. Continuing the news. The alleged leader of the Klansman Gang, Tasha Miller, will remain in lockup for Christmas as he was denied bail Monday afternoon. Miller is facing charges in relation to the murder of Douglas Chambers at the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, 10 years ago.
On Monday, prosecutors reported that they have 2 witnesses who will testify that Miller gave the order for Mr. Chambers to be killed. The prosecutors say Miller gave the order after Mr. Chambers refused to pay extortion money to the Klansman Gang. They say the JUTC chairman was accused of disrespecting the gang by paying money to another Spanish Town-based gang. The prosecutors told the court that the order was given to Andre Blackman Bryan to carry out the killing. Bryan was subsequently tried for the murder, but was acquitted by a jury.
8 years and 9 months in prison for accessory before and after the fact of murder is said to be the man who ordered the killing of then JUTC chairman Douglas Chambers.
In this same courtroom, in 2016, Blackman, who they said we sent to kill this gentleman, was acquitted by a jury. And today, Mr. Miller is sentenced to 39 years and 9 months for sending Blackman, who is acquitted, to go and kill this gentleman.
Friends of Tasha Miller upset with what they call injustice. Family friends say he has always been a kind-hearted Christian.
Me as a elder, I know the man in the place of my youth. I don't really know him as when hear people say, you know.
Drive him truck, very clean man, very kind and gently. Yes, love little children and all those things.
My Sunday school teacher from school, church, him send me go finish high school. I make me finish high school. Fee money make me finish high school. You get me? So things when me hear them say about him, a giant to them talk about him for be, me not see that person.
They argue Miller has been a welder almost all his life, and his conviction highlights the inequality in the Jamaican justice system.
The court this morning began hearing the appeal of convicted leader of the Klansman Gang, Tasha Miller. Tesha Miller was in 2020 sentenced to 38 years and 9 months in prison for plotting the 2008 murder of former chairman of the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, Douglas Chambers. He was convicted on December 2 on 1 count of accessory before the fact of murder and 1 count of accessory after the fact of murder.
Tesha Miller, also known as Rat, is a prominent figure within Jamaica's criminal underworld. He has been identified as the leader of the Klansman Gang, a powerful and violent criminal organization based in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. The gang is notorious for its involvement in a wide range of illicit activities, including murder, extortion, drug trafficking, and gang warfare. Miller has faced numerous legal troubles over the years, including multiple arrests and charges related to his criminal activities. In December, he was arrested in connection with a stolen motor vehicle, leading to a demonstration by residents who claimed unfair targeting by the police. He has also been detained and interrogated by law enforcement officials for crimes committed in Spanish Town. Despite facing serious legal challenges, Miller has managed to evade conviction on several occasions. He was acquitted of murder charges in the past due to insufficient evidence and has faced deportation from the United States for re-entering the country illegally. Miller's influence within the Klansman Gang is significant, and his leadership has been associated with bloody infighting and power struggles within the organization. Witnesses have described him as a ruthless leader who wields control over the gang's operations and orders violent acts against rivals and perceived enemies. The ongoing murder trial of Tesha Miller, particularly in connection with the killing of former Jamaica Urban Transit Company Judge Boss Douglas Chambers, has garnered significant attention. Key witnesses have testified against him, shedding light on his role as the head of the Klansman Gang and providing crucial insights into the gang's criminal activities. Tesha Miller was found guilty on charges of robbery with aggravation and illegal possession of firearms. In conclusion, the narratives of these 5 individuals underscore the ongoing struggle against organized crime in Jamaica and the resilience of communities affected by their actions. The law enforcement's efforts to dismantle these criminal networks continue, but the legacy of these gangsters serves as a reminder of the deep-rooted issues that fuel the cycle of violence and crime. As Jamaica moves forward, the stories of Hodges, Linton, Pusey, Morgan, and Miller stand as cautionary tales of the paths that lead to destruction and the societal costs of allowing such figures to rise to power.
Are you looking to add a touch of modern elegance to your home or office? Introducing our exclusive collection of abstract digital art, vibrant, minimalist, and perfect for any space. Each piece is thoughtfully designed with bold shapes and striking colors, shades of blue, purple, and black that bring harmony and sophistication to your decor. Whether you're creating a statement wall or looking for a subtle accent, our digital downloads make it easy to elevate your space instantly. Available now on Etsy. Download, print, and frame to match your unique style. It's art made simple. Visit our Etsy shop today to explore the full collection and find the perfect piece for your home. Click the link in the description and bring modern art into your world.